stump her several times.
Good. Okay. I
So,
turned on the recording
That's not working.
because Lee wanted it recorded.
okay.
So here we are. We're recorded now. So don't say anything for anyone to know.
I'm trying to make my camera not move with me, and it
Oh.
moves with me, and I'm like, it's not
Woo.
turned on in the settings,
Oh.
but yet it is, and I'm not sure what's going on
Oh
there.
my goodness, that's
Sorry,
all the tech. All the tech.
right?
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
If I go up,
And
up, down.
Jennifer, you're on. Your mic looks like everybody's microphone's on, most of us.
Okay. Yep. Can you hear me good?
Yeah. So I'll let you do your nice hosting job of Denise's fun book.
Oh,
And I'll
Okay.
mute me for now,
oops,
unless
Okay.
somebody says something to me.
sorry.
It's
All
okay.
right.
Everybody's busy.
Okay. So I want to welcome everyone here to our meeting, our comfy porch meeting. And we're very excited to have Denise here today and read her book. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure y'all did too. Let's go ahead and open with prayer, and then we'll just jump right in.
Cool.
Father God, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the ability to meet with friends online, even when we can't be where they live, but we can meet and discuss books and discuss God and just all the good things that there is. We thank you for Denise and what she's doing in the ministry that of reaching people through her story. And we just ask you to be with us today. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, let's see. All right, let me tell you about Denise. I had to really go through here because there's so much to tell, but we'll save some of that like Disneyland for the end of the meeting. So, okay, passionate about all types of stories, whether they are from songs, theater, movies, or novels, Denise M. Colby loves history and constantly finds herself contemplating how it was to live in the 1800s. An avid journal writer, Denise usually can be found with a pen and notepad wherever she's reading God's Word. Each year, Denise chooses a word to focus on. She shares her learnings about that word throughout the year on the two blogs she writes for. A wife for over 30 years and mother to 3 boys and a daughter in love, Denise loves to read, watch movies with her family, sings 80s and musical songs, dance, and spend date night with her husband. Writing historical Christian romance novel combines her love of learning about history and reading. Visit Denise's website to sign up for her newsletter or connect with her on her social media at denisemcolby.com. And you can also go to the Facebook post today where Denise shared all her different links. And I think I signed up all but Goodreads. I was having trouble getting into there for some reason. But that's a little more about Denise. So I thought if it was okay, I would start by asking Denise 5 questions, and then I will ask the readers 5 questions, if that's okay. And then we'll just open it up to, like I said, Disneyland discussions and stuff, if that's all right. Denise, if you want to start, how long have you been writing?
About 12, 13 years now is when I started, which I think I wrote a little bit on one. I hope I haven't bombarded you guys with all the posts. I pre-did them and I was like, okay, to tell the story, but I never intended to be a writer. In fact, I grammar was not my best subject in this school. I was more a math whiz. And but I did take one creative writing class, and that was the only time that a teacher wasn't judging based on grammar and the mechanics. And it said something about whatever I had written at the time, but I think that it didn't stick, but maybe it did more than I realized. So I really didn't start reading fiction again. I read fiction growing up, but then life gets busy and you're raising your kids and you're reading all like the parent help books and all the things that you need to read. And a friend gave me some books. One of them was Deanne Gist for my birthday, like in my 40s. And I remember just as I kept reading, it was like, oh, I'd like to write one of these. And that's just kind of how it all got started. So
Oh, that's cool. How did you actually start, when you did start?
when I started,
Uh,
um, I actually emailed an author that I found out lived in my area, and I just said, "Hey, when I read your story, it encourages me to write." And she wrote back and said, "We have a chapter of RWA, which was Romance Writers of America, that meets, and it was like in the town over from me. You should come." And so I had written maybe a scene of just an idea and went, and there's like 80 writers in this room, and I mean it was a whole thing, like, yeah. So walking into that was like, wow, this is way bigger than what I thought. Am I ready for this? And it just kind of went from there. So I had this idea that God kept putting in my head. um I think I shared about this in one of the posts. I went with my son to his fourth grade field trip up in Sacramento to the one room schoolhouse. And I'm looking around at all the, the uh, things within the schoolhouse. And it's like, oh, what it would have been like to be a teacher. Those were the ideas that were popping in my head. And then this idea popped up of, you can't be courted. You can't, all the stuff we kind of learned reading Little House on the Prairie and watching the show and all those things. And it was like, oh, that'd be fun. But then I didn't pay attention to it until I went back 2 years later with my next son, and the same idea was floating around in my
Mm.
head. And God was saying, no, no, I want you to write this. And so then that's when I started listening to him a bit more.
Okay. That was actually my third question,
Oh,
was
okay.
about how you got the one room schoolhouse idea.
Yeah.
Um, Go ahead.
There's there's a one-room schoolhouse in the historic area of downtown Sacramento. It's still there. You can go in and you can tour it. They have a table where they put things on about that time period that you can buy and you can research and all of that. Back when I went, they kids got to participate in a session like they were in school.
Mm.
So they put the girls on one side and the boys on the other, and they had to stand up every time they needed to address the teacher and sit back down. And I found that fascinating. I'm all like taking notes. They don't, apparently that fourth grade field trip since COVID, that has not been open to do that
Um,
session with the kids, but
yeah.
before that, and so that was where it all started.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Um, who was your favorite character in the book? I'll ask you others about that later, but
Mm.
Um, I think when I was writing it, I really liked Luke. I love writing from the male perspective, getting in their head and figuring things out. But Bert kind of took a life of his own. And and so he's been fun to yeah, to dive into and make big more. So kind of a combo there, I guess.
right. Okay. And the last one for you, and then I'll let you rest a minute.
Okay.
Um, the how did you come about with the theme? Was it planned? Did it come about later?
Hmm. I think it was always there. Um, the idea that these five women, which is what I want to write this series about, all come to California and leave what they had known before because of different circumstances. And they have an idea of what their future is going to be, but God's going to write that differently. And I just, this is a theme that really resonates with me about the plans, and that God's plans are infinitely better than anything that we can do ourselves. And that was something I think that I've learned myself in life and wanted to express and share that in the story.
Yeah, I don't think his plans are ever what we think they're going to be.
No,
Wasn't in my life anyway.
no.
Totally different than I ever thought life would be. But okay, now we get in with everybody else. Y'all are ready to jump in. All right, what did you think about the journaling in the story? Denise said that was a really important part of journaling. And what did you think, especially about the little inserts at the very beginning of each chapter? Did you like that? Did you find it too much? What do you think about the journaling?
I loved the journaling, especially the part where she realized, wait, I can be talking to God through
Mhm.
this, because I don't know about the rest of you, but I think a lot of authors, like I started out journaling before I ever wrote any books. And whenever there are things I needed to work out in my head, I'm like, I'm going to write it down. And so, still now I will write prayers out because I feel like I get distracted otherwise, and if I can really, and I love that progression that you could see her trying to figure things out in her journal. I kept thinking somebody was going to find it because she was hiding it all the time. I was waiting for somebody to find her journal. But
You need to read the second book.
okay.
That an
Which-
advertisement?
No.
Sure, it should be.
I know.
Be right?
Well, it's funny because it that was not planned in the second book, and then someone does find it, and now I'm actually for future stories like, oh, I could use that and how it changed that person's life that found it and what they were, and, it's kind of, I don't want to say taking a life of its own, but it's really cool when God connects all those dots and you're like, oh, I can do something with that. And yeah, that's all him, not me. I was not planning all that, but yeah.
I like the journal too. I thought it was fun to see her thoughts, and then like Karen said, her progression as she learned and as she grew.
So no one found it distracting at the beginning of the chapter?
No.
She told me she was a little concerned about that.
Mm-mm.
But to me, if they would have been really long, I think they would have. But I think as short as they were.
Right.
So it's
They
interesting.
were good.
The reason I brought that up to Jennifer to ask is I kind of want that to be my branding so that all my stories have that. And so the question is, does that get tiring over time? And can I write in the character's voice so that they're all different? I don't
Right.
know. But the third book just came out, and I'm editing the fourth, and they all have a journal entry written from that character's perspective. So at least for this series, that's what I'll do, but I kind of want to do it and be what I have in mind. So I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think absolutely for this series, but you may find you don't want to write every single one of your characters as a journaler. So
Yeah.
you probably don't want to get yourself tied into
Yeah,
that.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. Yeah. I haven't
Yes.
haven't come up with a new series idea to be like, oh, what do I want to do different? But yet could see that.
Okay. Second question: what is your favorite part of the book? Favorite scene? Favorite character scene?
Anything with that bird.
Like that bird, yeah. That's exactly where my brain was going, Jen.
He was hysterical. He was hysterical. He was a really, really good addition just to like totally break the moment. You know what I mean? Like just put some humor in there. I love animals and stories anyhow, and I just thought he was great.
I think I was in some workshop session where they talked about animals are a great addition to your thing. And I was like, everyone's doing a dog.
Right.
And what can I do? Right. What can that be? And so that's where that came from. And then I did some research about their personalities, and it was like, oh, I could do more with this. Like it just kind of ballooned. I learned a lot, but I'm so happy everyone likes him, because I was worried that, and initially it was like he'd be too much, but
He was cute.
the love of Bert is definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really like the fact, I don't say I like these parts, but they really kept me reading. It's every time she got in trouble, I'm like, no, stop, don't go there, don't do that. And she would do it anyway, of course. That always makes good reading when you're, her stubbornness.
She thinks
Pretty
she knows. She
determined
wants to be
young woman.
controlling, right? She's very controlling and wants to control what she's able to do. And yeah.
I don't know if it was my favorite scene, but I loved Evelyn.
Oh,
Like her, the
Yeah.
surprise of who she
Yes.
ended up being. Like that was great. Like, who is this woman that could be my mother that wants to know?
Mhm.
I enjoyed that.
Oh, I'm glad.
So I have a quick question. Are you a plotter? Like, did you know she was going to be older?
Mm-mm.
Or did that just like work its way? I felt like maybe you just like were like, I was kind of hoping, like you were like, oh, this would be really cool. Cause that was fun.
I think when because I wrote this all backwards. Like, I had a scene idea and I wrote it, and then I'd have another scene idea and I wrote it and then I'd take another workshop and it was like, well, let me apply that to a scene. And the next thing I know, I have all these scenes and I have to figure out how to put them together into a piece. I don't even remember what it was exactly that gave me that, but I knew, when I figured out he needed a he went for a mail order bride. So in his mind, he was set to why wouldn't she work out? What could that be? And trying to figure that out. And I think there was an aha. I'm writing it and I'm like, well, what if? And then I wasn't sure if people would like it or not. And I'm like, oh, it was just one of those moments for myself too.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering how you were going to work that out. I thought, okay, she's going to die on the boat, fall overboard. I'm having all these scenarios, and I never thought of that one. So I was surprised.
Well, and then it's interesting too and it's hard because I couldn't really write it in the back cover copy. Like, I don't want to give that away because it's such an important moment when you're reading it. But having the way that the foreman responded when he saw her, like, was not planned either.
Yeah.
Yet I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, that was kind of fun. That's actually, I'm planning to write a Christmas story related to that. So that's kind of one of the next ones on my
It was
list.
very unique. I don't think I've ever seen that, take on something like that, because you see a lot of same kind of stuff like mail order bride, blah, blah, blah. But that was very unique. I
Oh,
like that.
good. I'm glad. That's the whole goal, right? Is to do
Right.
something different. And I think
Yeah.
I've read a few things that were kind of similar. And I'm like, oh no. But
I think that happens to all of us.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Which character did you feel like you connected the most with?
Don't say Bert.
I was just about to say Bert, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, definitely, Bert.
I really liked Chrissy. I don't know that I had any one favorite because you did such a great job of developing all of them. But I saw her as that spiritual mentor, and I really liked her a lot. So good job.
Thanks.
The friend that you want to have, Yeah.
And I liked Luke's friend, the pastor, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought he was a good character. He wasn't overly sappy or anything or too spiritual. He was real with Luke, and I liked that a lot.
His story comes out in May, and that's what I'm editing right now. And it's interesting you say that because he's a pastor. So it's like I need to have the faith elements, but I didn't want to write him too much that way. And so finding that balance that fit his training and stuff but it's been an interesting to figure out. Yeah. So
this may be one of the questions, but what kind of research did you have to do to find out what it would take to be a pastor back then? Because I remember he went off to school. He went off to seminary.
Yeah, there was a seminary located in Benicia, which wasn't that far away, that I found. And then I did a little bit, the research was done so long ago, I probably couldn't tell you what happened. But there was definitely, I did some research to kind of figure that out, and then get the timing right. Will's actually going to be the only character so far that's in all 4 of my books. And that was not planned. It's just the way I realized that as I'm working. And I'm like, he's in every single one. And I needed to make sure he was consistent in each one and get the timeline and the story of when he knew things and didn't know things and stuff like that. But yeah, I love the scene of them on the roof. that was a fun scene to write and to, you know, for him to challenge Luke and Luke to open up to him, just all of that. That was a big one that I enjoyed writing all that.
Now, what did y'all think of the flood? Do you think it was well written? Have you ever experienced a flood? Is that anything that? And then Denise, have you ever experienced a flood? Write that out like that.
Well, not like kind of. Our hometown had a flood in '86, and like more downtown flooded and things. So I saw the aftermath, just lots of water and those sort of things, but no, I don't. I needed some action in my, it's funny. This book, I didn't want to write a villain because I didn't want to write anybody mean. So I was like, well, nature has to be, I need something to be the tension. And so that's where I dove into was nature and what could it do? And that area floods. One of the historical facts I really wanted why the story was set when it was, and was the raising of what Sacramento did, with building on top of itself because it was so low and they were trying to avoid it. The dates I kind of used some author, what do we call that when it's a fiction book, right?
Right.
But the circumstances were there. What was interesting is as I was writing it, I'm like, well, it would make sense if Sacramento raised up, where's all that water going to go?
Right.
And so I'm not 100% sure if that truly happened or not, because that area is a suburb. But to me, that's where that came from.
I didn't know that about Sacramento. I mean, I live in Tennessee, so I don't know anything about out west.
Yeah, they had brought in a bunch of silt and stuff and there's some really cool things. If you go visit the historic area of Sacramento, all the walkways are really high because they built them so that the water would go underneath and not flood. And then the doorways are super tall. And one of the cool things is when I went with my son, down underneath, you can take stairs down, and there's like kind of a little town underneath that they built on. And that's where they use some of it kind of like a basement now, but that's where the original places were. And so that's some of the area I was trying to illustrate in that and use that real historical.
I liked that. I liked reading all about that because I was born and raised in California, and Sacramento was where my dad's family lived. So whenever I read what you were referring to, I was picturing it in my mind. And I knew Sacramento was a floodplain because it's a delta area and the water can go and there's rivers that flood all the time. So, and they didn't have flood control yet, right? So even in my town in 1989, all of the creeks flooded everywhere within about 200 miles. And we didn't have in place yet any levee. The levees were breaking and then flooding. And then all the little creeks were flooding. I remember watching the gauge on TV going, what? Like all the rivers. And so my mom's backyard, it flooded all the way up to their steps.
Oh, wow.
And that's as close as it came. So reading about the flood, it just brought back all, and it's sometimes slow, but sometimes really quick to where like they couldn't get away, right? In your story.
Yes.
It just rises quicker than you would think.
It's all a matter of because it's a tide system. So high tide and low tide every 12 hours makes a really big difference. And so that's what can cause that. So if it's high tide and there's a lot of water all at the same time.
Yeah, you did a really good job with that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
The part that I thought was, the whole flood was very well written. The part that I really liked about that was she kept needing to be rescued, but in this case, she really had the presence of mind to get the belt and strap herself in. And it just showed that, okay, she's strong and resourceful, even though she keeps needing to get rescued all the time. So I thought that was a nice, showing her dealing with something that really was very traumatic in keeping her head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I
Mhm.
didn't want her to be too weak. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But yet it's always nice to have a knight in shining armor come and save the day. So
She
it's like
couldn't
trying to
be
find
too
that balance.
weak, Denise, or she wouldn't have gone out there and done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
She had to have
True.
some strength.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very true. Yeah.
Well, my last question was actually all about what y'all thought about Bert. We've kind of talked about it already, but and have you used animals in your books? The one of you, the people here that have written and stuff. What do you think about animals? There's
Oh
Bert. She's
my.
got
Yeah.
Bert.
As you can say, I put my collection of roosters here
There you
that
go.
I've
Mhm.
accumulated from it. And a lot of these are gifts from friends. You know, this is from Moana, and so you can wear it on your shoulder at Disney and stuff like
Yes.
that. But I got a Lego set from my friend that I built, and this
Dude.
this one, I have to really quickly. This one was from my mom. She had it at her house, and so when we cleaned out her house, I took it home with me, and I said, when my book publishes, I will pull it out.
Yes.
And my sister remembered that. And so we had a party here to celebrate. She goes, "Where's the rooster?" And it made me realize, oh my gosh, I get to pull it out and display it. So that was kind of a big deal.
Oh, that's
But
good. I liked Bert
Yeah.
a lot. Obviously, everybody liked Bert. It's fun to put animals in stories, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've only done dogs and cats. I haven't branched out so much now.
I don't think I would have
I
thought of
added
a
a
rooster,
gnome
but
in my first one,
a
besides an
gnome?
animal.
So, can you
Yeah.
crochet? You could crochet little roosters and sell them with your books.
yeah, that would be fun. I had found material. I found all sorts of things. So I'm trying to figure that out. And then,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
It's cute.
it's fun though.
That's so good. Um, I thought now we'd take a few minutes just for questions and answers. And we can just, I'll start off with, tell us all about your Disneyland experience. Because I'm sure we all wanted to work there at one time or the other. Of course, I wouldn't have ever sang or danced. I guess I'd be pulling the button for the rides, but tell us about that.
So, when I was little and I'd come to Disneyland with my family, we lived about 8 hours away. I would watch the shows and be like, I want to do that. I want to dance at Disneyland. So when I was picking college, I picked schools that were in this area so that I could do that. And so then while I was in college, I went to my first audition, which was more a character audition. And I'm not as much of an actress as I am a performer. But I had to be Mary Poppins playing baseball, and you had to be in character, show that you could do it, and that sort of thing. So I didn't get it, didn't get in. And then I was taking a dance class at college and met some people that were in the parades. So then there was a group of people all like, hey, let's go together. And so when you go to this audition, you got 700 people that are going through the
Wow.
whole thing. I mean, it's pretty intense and they weed you out. They do, can you do this one movement across the floor? And then they do a cut and then they do another set and they do a cut. And all the people that I went with that day got a part and I did not. And I remember crying, had to go to a payphone because we didn't have phones back then, bawling my head off to my mom of just how devastated I was. And you talk about plans, right? My plan versus what God's plan was. And I had made it all the way to the end, and they had added our names on, and they ended up adding a new unit into the parade to expand it. Um, and so I got a call back a month later or whatever for another audition to try, and then I got a part in that audition.
Ooh.
And I think I appreciated it more than if I had gotten it right away. And that was a huge thing for me. But so much fun to go, and especially that first turn down Main Street and your family's on the sidelines and a lot of work, hot days, train tracks you had to dance around. Um, but super fun. I did 3 parades. So that one was the Party Gras Parade in 1990. I did and then I waited a year because I was in school and finishing up. I auditioned for Christmas and I didn't get in at the audition, but sometimes people quit. And I got a phone call and they're like, would you like this part? But you need to decide right now, which meant I wouldn't go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas. So I did the Christmas parade and I was one of the Fantasia hippos that dances with the alligators. And it does ballet. It's a very heavy costume, but it was super fun. So I did that for that whole season. And then I auditioned for the Main Street Electrical Parade, and I got to I got a part at the audition, which just meant the world to me. And I was one of the Cinderella mice, either Jack or Gus. We rotated between the two, and that was super fun. That was a great run with that. And so I actually have a collection of Jack and Gus memorabilia. That's kind of what I collect from that. They're kind of rare, but yet not. And so you see things with them on there. And a funny story with that, I mentioned the train tracks were dancing and you're kind of, with all this. And one of the other people in our foursome that were dancing tripped on the train tracks and she fell over. And when you fall in the back of that costume, you're like a turtle. You can't get up. And there was no leads around. And people are all, and so the other three of us are like, okay, on the count of three, in the middle of the performing, we're like trying to help her get up. And we are laughing. It was just the funniest thing, not knowing she had truly hurt her ankle when she tripped, but we got her up and then continued on and all that sort of stuff. But, every performance is a unique situation. You never know. It's funny, you would see somebody you'd recognize, but they don't know it's you. So you're like, hi. So I had to be really specific to my parents so that they could take pictures. And I'm like, okay, when I see you, I'll do this. And then you know which one is me, like that sort of thing. But it was fun.
Funny. So where did you live when you did that?
So I went to Cal State Fullerton, which is about 15 minutes away from Disney. And so I lived in the dorms when I was in school, and then I had an apartment nearby. We live 20 minutes away. So my husband and I, when I first started dating him, I was in that parade. And my first Christmas present to him was an annual pass. And we've had annual passes our whole 30 years we've been married together. So we go for date nights and hanging out with friends and that sort of thing.
Cool.
So it's kind of neat to escape. But we went last Friday night. It was pouring rain, but it was the first day of Christmas. And there's just something about the atmosphere after a stressful week of work. And you just got music around you and lights and everybody's in a good mood and it's kind of neat. So yeah, thankful. I miss those days. I wish I could, there's not a lot of parts for older women to dance in and do all that, but.
Well, it would be interesting.
Yeah. You could be the fairy godmother. That could be one.
Yeah.
On the Cinderella carriage when they have that, but.
You're not quite that old yet, Denise.
My body tells me otherwise, but yes. All those
if you
years
fell
of
over in
dancing.
that costume, there might be no getting up from that one, right?
True. No, it was a dream come true. Absolute dream, for sure. And something I really wanted to capture to share my kids, that you think about something and then you go for it and you don't give up. You keep trying.
Well, that's true in writing a book too.
Yes. I think that lesson helped me with this. I think it really did. And because I got done with it and it was like, well, I hit my dream. So what do I do now?
Right. Yeah.
Dream.
Yeah.
Dream a new dream.
Finish the series. That's the
rest. I was going to say that helps in writing. Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
You hit those benchmarks and you're like, well, what do I do next?
Very much so.
Have you considered a historical early Disney days, working at Disney series in the historical?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could. I hadn't thought about. I'm still like in the time period of my other. I have all these other ideas. Although I did write down our engagement story is quite the story, and so I had written it in a first person, and I'd like to clean it up. I wrote it very early, and I'd like to clean it up and have it maybe be a freebie. There's some pretty funny things about that. So my husband and his two friends planned something very fun. And so they kidnapped me. I was blindfolded and they took me to Disneyland and made me ride pirates by myself, or not by myself, but with the blindfold on and all of that.
my
But my
gosh.
husband was the knight in shining armor to save the day because the pirates were going to make me walk the plank. And so he whisks me away to the Snow White wishing well and and all this sort of stuff. And so that's where we got engaged, was by the Snow White wishing well.
I wonder what the implications would be with copyright stuff if you tried to write a story about Disney.
Yeah.
You'd
Trademark.
have to make it a different name of the park.
Yeah.
You'd have to come up with a whole different place.
Yeah.
But that would be hard to do because that's such a world in itself,
Well, I know for Scrivenings Press, that's who you're with, right, Denise?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not allowed to do anything Disney.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Can't mention any of the princesses, nothing.
Yep.
Because she said Disney will come after you.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
when
protect
I
all of
used
that.
to write curriculum for Teachers Pay Teachers, it was the same way. Lots of people did it, but you're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
We're not allowed to put anything, like any brand name of anything. Like I had somebody go into the Phillies game because we're in the Philadelphia area. She's like, no, just a ball game. I'm like, but okay.
I know. Are you with Scrivening Express too, aren't you, Karen?
No, Pelican group.
Because Scrivening Express is pretty particular on that too. But and I didn't think about that. One of mine, they took out part of it, and I used a ball team in Pensacola, and I switched to back. It was just a local ball team. It's not like the Phillies, but
right.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Becca Kinzer's her stuff has always got the Chicago Cubs in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't know.
She's got a big thing, and I mean, I mentioned him briefly in that little novelette, but I think as long as you acknowledge it.
I think too, if it's not negative,
right?
Except for Disney, I think Disney is just totally hands off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would probably get real upset.
But you could probably put it in your freebie. Your story. I mean, like you're telling a story of what you
I like it. I'm like holding my hands and it's reading. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's so funny.
So
Is that
let's see what comes up. There should be something that will pop up. Let's
right?
see.
I don't have that.
That's funny.
Oh.
So you said you're a pantser. Okay, so I'm a pantser. Have you always been a pantser? Do you aspire to be a plotter, or have you just given in to the whole thing?
I have aspired to be a plotter. This book I'm doing the developmental edits right now. I tried to plot it, and the characters did not want to cooperate with that for me.
Yeah.
And I did better if I just could be in the moment and writing where it needed to go. But I have some idea, and then going back and cleaning up things. But no, I'm like, I think I'm a pantser more so. I like to be a little organized with the research and all of that and have some key ideas, but yeah. You mentioned baseball teams. So this later book, sorry, I know that it's funny, this one I wrote here and now I'm here, but Olivia is originally from Cincinnati. That's where all the teachers come from. And so Will has to go to Cincinnati. And so I'm back there. And I had learned that in the year that they're there, the Cincinnati Red Stockings is what they were called. And it was the very first all-paid baseball team ever going on during that time. And so I put a little thing on there that, they see a sign and they talk about it because it was such a historical piece. I did some research on it. So I wonder if that will make its way through or not. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's cool. So was there really a group of teachers that left from Ohio to go out there?
So, interesting, one of the things I found in research is there was an American Women's Teacher Association that was started by Carolyn Beecher. So Carolyn Beecher, who's a sister right? And the whole family was all involved in all different things. And she started this teacher training school, and she wanted to go civilize the young. And she sent them into the wild. And the wild back then was more Wisconsin and Montana. And like, so I had them just go to California.
Sure.
But the idea was that they would be sent to school. So I took that whole idea and used that because that was an important piece in the training and all of
You
that.
put that in the back of the book, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking, I read that. Why did you ask that question?
There's some things, and that's, I love history, but like trying to make it fit, right? So as my
Right.
research, there's a town across the way from Sacramento, and it was called Washington. And funny story is this particular town, the woman's husband passed away. She had like 7 kids or something like that, and she started selling off plots of land and built a town. And she registered the town, I guess, on Washington's birthday. And so she just named it Washington. That's where the name came from. And I guess originally it had a post office. When the train was going to go there, they were thinking of making that be the capital seat versus Sacramento because it was on the other side of the river that could get to San Francisco faster. And all of these things. And then the railroad business was so big during that time. They were all about expansion and doing the competition that the one of them built a bridge to take the train across the river. And as soon as that happened, they just bypassed this town. And so the town didn't survive. The post office burned down and they decided not to put another one in and different things. And I want a different fate for my town, but I use that space. And I couldn't name it Washington because there is another town called Washington, California that's more north now.
Well,
And so I'm like, if I did that, that might confuse people of the location. So, but I wanted to honor the town that was there originally. And so that's where Washington is a really weird name. And but that's what I came up with. So.
That's cool.
I don't know if any of you guys ever feel this way, but you're writing your first book, you have no idea what you're doing, and you establish this and you establish that, and then you go to write the next one, and you're like, you're in that story world, and it's like, oh, you've established this now, and you have to work with it.
You don't even know that you did it. Like you look back and you think, oh, I shouldn't have done it.
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes you're like, well, maybe I'll just make that up, and then you're like, oh, now I need to prove that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Can you tell us a little bit about the upcoming series? Who are going to be the characters in the next book?
So the second book in the series is Jenny. She's one of the teachers. And that one came out earlier this year. So that one's out. It's called A Slight Change of Plans. And then the third novel that came out, it's a novella, it's a prequel that just came out in November. It's actually Sarah's story. So you just read this. Sarah is not on the page at all, but she's not liked because she made a mistake, in Luke's whole struggle. And so when I had written that scene, I needed to be from her perspective a little bit to understand what could have really happened and transpired. And as I wrote that, I was like, oh, I could write a whole story here. And so one NaNoWriMo year, I decided I wanted to take a break from writing When Plans Go Awry and do something new. And so I wrote the first draft of No Plan at All is what it's called. And she leaves because she has no plan. And so it's kind of her story and her side of it. And so far the feedback's been really positive, which is great. So that's her. So now the next book that comes out is The Third Teacher. And I hope to write the fourth and the fifth. So
very cool.
Did you have that scene where I definitely read that with Sarah where she wanted to go out they went out, and then that was in this book though, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So they, his mom passes away.
Back to that.
It's raining and the flashback.
Okay.
And she's like, he's like, let's take a drive, let's talk. And at that point she already had like, I can't stay. If I stay, I'm going to and she didn't really have a choice. She didn't think that she did. And Will is off at seminary, so she has no way to get in touch with him and all of that. And this peddler has been talking about leaving town, so it's her one shot to get out of town. So the no plan at all starts right at that scene with her.
Denise, I'm going to try to remember. I know, and I'm not sure if it was the exact same area where you set your stories, but you have a lot of family history in Northern
Yes.
California that goes back generations and
Yes,
generations.
I
And
do.
I don't remember if that was if you had mentioned that in the book or not, but
No, my original plan was to have each teacher go to a different community and like get to my hometown with one of them and figure that out. But I love this idea of the magic schoolhouse, similar to like the magic school bus. I don't know, where the magic schoolhouse is the one that kind of helps bring these relationships together. And I was like, well, I've established this town and I've established Bert. People want to see Bert again. If I went somewhere else, I wouldn't be able to do that. And so I changed them so that they would all be in Washington. But Lynn, you just asked. So my great 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 grandfather was a trapper with Jedediah Smith, and he was an early settler in my hometown of Napa. So I'm like the sixth generation born in town. And he actually, he wrote journals, so he kept track. And so those are actually at the Huntington Library. But they've been published. His journals have been published. And he actually ran into the Donner Party. He had just come through the Sierras when he ran into the Donner Party. He had a campfire with them and he jotted down all their names and who he met. And he told them not to go the way that they went. He goes, don't, you're going to get stuck in the snow. And then they did anyway. So in this new book, No Plan, Plan at All, because they're traveling, her and the peddler are traveling, they come across a wagon train group of people who are looking to settle in Napa, which is my hometown. And my hope would be another series where I go where they settle. And it actually is the same time frame that my grandfather would be alive. So I thought that would be really fun.
Cool. Yeah.
Kind of a Karen Kingsbury where you have all the books connected somehow,
Susan
so
May
many.
Warren does that a lot too. And yes, I never intended for that, but I find all that. I'm like, oh, I could do this and oh, I could do that. And yes, I think so. It'd be
Do y'all
fun.
know about the next month's?
Yeah. It's Tasha. I don't know
We get a
her.
Christmas story. I'm excited about that.
Waiting for Gilbert, and I'm the moderator.
Okay. I'm not sure if I'll get to be here in December. I'm trying to work it out, but I just don't know right now. But I didn't know if you could tell us a bit about it before we get done here.
I can.
Do you know anything about it?
I'm gonna look it up. We're gonna read it.
Okay, you can look it up.
I
real quick
appreciate
for
everyone
us.
here because it's, we got Thanksgiving next week and all that sort of stuff. So
well, and these holidays are really squished so close together this year.
It does seem like they are.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay. So Tasha's book is Waiting for Gilbert, Holidays in Hadley Springs, Book 1. And it is on Kindle Unlimited, and it's also an audiobook. Short little. Okay. I'm just a girl standing in front of a phone asking her landlord to come to dinner. Cute and fun Cordelia is history. From now on, I'm serious and focused. C.J. Thompson. No more snappy one-liners. No more dance parties for one in restaurant booths. Ann Girl is out. Marilla Cuthbert is in. It's time to grow up. If only it were that easy. With less than 2 weeks until a massive work deadline, I signed a 12-month lease on a cottage, sight unseen, because I couldn't bear to stay in the city another day after my broken engagement. It's all well and good until my landlord knocks on my door at 2 a.m. Who knew living next to a house-flipping, cello-playing, swoony, smiling, flesh and blood man named Gilbert would be so distracting? To do. Number 17, finish unpacking. Number 18, drink coffee. Number 19, ask Gilbert to marry me. This is a no door kisses only romance with beautiful raw emotions and silly and wonderful characters. It has
That
a
sounds
lot of
like fun.
This is a
yeah, it
fun.
does sound fun.
Wow.
Well, we'll have to all get that. Got about 5 minutes left. Denise, do you have anything you want to share with us about?
I don't know. I feel like I've shared a lot. Have my posts been okay? I mean, have you guys enjoyed like different?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
Oh, I
great.
thought you did amazingly good.
Oh,
I
thank
thought
you.
me getting like 8 or 10 posts the whole month was good for me. And I'm like, wow, she's got like something every day.
I was
I
trying. I
got really
pre-posted.
behind,
Yeah.
and I
Well, yeah, I have.
apologize for that, but I tried to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go in like once a week. I'm like, oh, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
I don't know if
appreciate
I
you guys
even
all
caught
making
up with them
comments.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to, I mean, one of the funnest things, and I think you guys have all felt this too, is to talk about people read your book and then you could talk about the characters like and they're real and what
Mhm.
they've done. And it's just so neat to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Was
the
a lot of
girls,
fun.
the daughters.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
good too.
Mm-hmm.
I had Rose with a lisp. And it's interesting because you want the voices of the kids to be different, but yet they can't be so hard to understand. So I took most of that out. It's feedback you get when you start sharing it with people and
Yeah, because that's kind of almost a cliche with the little kid. So
Mhm.
yeah.
It's just hard. I had a friend that's writing a Down syndrome young adult as the main character. And we did a critique group at Florida Writers Conference. And she was like, I told her, I said, it's just really hard for me to read. I said, I probably wouldn't read it. I said, you need to find, she's going to research into some other books if they've used, with maybe main characters with Down syndrome because of the way they talk sometimes.
Right.
I said, there's got to be a way to make you understand what they're saying, but to make it easier to read.
So
I
my
just know myself, if I
Yeah.
have trouble reading it, if there's so much dialect or something, I'll just usually end up giving up.
So
It's
when I
too
was
much
writing
translation. It's like watching a movie in a different language almost.
yeah,
You kind of need a subtitle.
when I was writing the novella that just came out, he is from Scotland. And so when I started looking up how they speak, I'm like, no one's going to understand a single thing if I write it this way. So I picked a
Erin has
handful
lots
of
of that.
words and just used that to sprinkle it in to kind of get the overall feel. But you have to really think about your audience, not what not the making it be so realistic. I think that's
That's interesting because like with Aaron's and she said he was from Ireland, right? Was it Scotland?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
should
automatically hear that in my
you
head.
should have seen the first draft though. My critique group was like, what? What you saying? I'm like, that's how they talk. And they're like, no. So I had to water it down so much.
Yeah.
And then
What
I
was the
still hear people
title?
say that was hard to read. I'm like, no, really?
What was, Erin, what was
Mhm.
that title on that one? And we all, and several of us said we didn't really understand what that meant. And you changed it to the Minnesota Darlings or something.
Yeah.
What was the title before that?
It was a Selkie, Minnesota Selkie.
Yeah.
And back then when I wrote it, people didn't know. Now there's been a lot of Selkie stories. So
Right.
people knew, but they were all, what is that? But now it's common. But you have to watch your timing, I guess, huh? And what's already been out there. Yeah.
Well,
But
that's the title. You might could have developed it in the story, but yeah.
yeah. So I didn't mean to take over, but yeah, writing 2 books with Irish accents, and now I've got some more. I'm with you on the lisp and the Down syndrome. There is a way, but you have to really, you got to hear it in your ear, and then you have to write it to where when you read it, you can still hear it, but other people can read it and also hear it. And
Mhm.
it takes some work, but there's a way to do it, I'm sure, with both of those things.
Well, and like Denise said, you kind of sprinkle things in, and then if I hear it's Irish or Scottish or whatever, that's what I hear. And there's a little I forgot his name. You know, the guy.
Um,
Okay.
Anyhow, that guy
Yeah.
that has that accent.
Mhm.
What I hear. And if you told me she had a lisp, even if you didn't write her with a lisp, I would probably hear a lisp.
Hear it with it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was funny because I have a classroom, right? So I have to come up with names of all the kids and figure out who they are and what they
Yeah.
need to do.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you write a story how many characters you end up having. It's like, wow, I never planned on that. I was just thinking of the hero and the heroine, but
But you did a really good job. I didn't have any problems keeping track of who it was.
oh, good. I'm so
Yeah.
glad to hear that. Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I've got almost 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Would someone like to pray us out, and then we'll just meet again next month?
So
Volunteers?
before we pray,
Oh,
do
go
I
ahead.
just contact Tasha and ask her for, I don't know her.
Oh,
Yeah.
Should I email Lee? Yeah.
Yeah, I have Tasha's email, but you might want to ask Lee
Okay.
to do that in case
Okay.
there's some protocol she'd rather us follow.
Sure. I'll ask her.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Sure.
So you're next month, Jen?
I'm the moderator for Tasha.
Oh, okay.
Christmas book. It's a really fun book. I already read it. It's
Okay.
Oh,
rom-com,
okay.
It
basically.
looks fun. Sounds fun.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, so I can pray for us if you want, and
Oh,
then
thank
we'll
you.
say night
We'll
and see you
say
later.
goodbye.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Father, we just appreciate time together and how we learn from each other, and how we can explain our thoughts and our plans to each other, and all of us being authors and some readers who join us, we can learn from each other so much just by expressing. And then you giving us I don't know, you've given us the calling to use words which are so powerful. I ask that you bless each one of us with ways to use words that glorify you and will draw people in with more curiosity about who you are and what you do in our lives. Even through our characters, that works too. So thank you so much in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't get my video to work.
I know, I saw Tammy. I'm like, where is she?
I had my camera, it was working, so I thought, oh, it'll work.
Oh.
And it says there's other apps using it. I don't know how to fix that.
Are you on a laptop?